what they are doing well. So, if it's a little bit more of run blocking, then it's going to be trying to figure out, ultimately technique-wise, their strong suits and trying to be able to highlight a couple of those. The one thing Jacob Kaiser had is just he had a lot of game experience, so he was able to do a variety of different things. He was a very physical presence at the end of the line, so being able to plug a lot of the new guys in there, I think is one of those experiments that we're going through right now.
Kate said that Jake's still been great in the room in terms of talking to the younger guys, kind of getting them grooming. Do you have to kind of keep him up going a little bit still? How do you kind of go with his situation right now?
Well, I think the unbelievable thing about a kid like Kai's is he's such a self-starter, and he's so intelligent, and he brings a lot to the room, that he's a self-motivator. And it's really, he's been the aggressor in terms of being able to take these young guys and lead by example. And, his role right now within the room is being able to, one, work on his rehab, and then two, really make sure that he does his best to provide a lot of guidance and leadership for the young dudes.
And I guess since Coach Pete has said he usually only talks about long-term or end-of-season type injuries, we're to assume that he's going to be back at some point here soon?
We're going to get him back.
Okay.
So it's really just making sure he stays day-to-day with his rehab and stays on top of it. But I'm looking forward to getting him back this season for sure.
One thing I've wanted to ask you about, Jordan, is just the idea of, 2 years ago you had Will, last year you had Drew.
Sure.
If everything goes great with a guy like Hunter, I'm sure he could very easily jump and be the next guy.
Sure.
What is it about kind of this recent run of success with you where you've been able to not just recruit the guys but develop them and get them going? Do you feel like it's just a momentum thing where you just got to keep it going, or is there some secret sauce there?
Well, if there's secret sauce, I wish I knew exactly what was going on. We can still replicate that. But I think the nice thing is we've just recruited unbelievable kids, really, really sharp kids that didn't care about stats. They just cared about winning football games. And I think that became contagious. I think it started with Will and being able to see him develop for a lot of young guys like Cade, being able to see how to operate on a day-to-day basis, exactly what professionalism looks like. He ended up getting a great opportunity with the Hawks and then being able to stay with Drew. So, these young guys have had a unique opportunity to see the progression of an NFL tight end and be able to emulate that. I think has been a huge, huge momentum swing, especially for guys like Hunter that are kind of presented with that opportunity potentially.
Right. And I know obviously Coach Pete after the Rose Bowl talked about how you guys are going to take a real deep dive into the offense.
Sure.
Really look at maybe paring things down to make sure the execution is there and everything else.
Sure.
How has that kind of affected the room, and how has that changed maybe what you guys do specifically?
Well, I think for us is, at the end of the day, we always have the conversations of just doing our job really, really well. And I think the versatility of our room. We have a lot of guys, like you said, that can get out and stretch the top of the defense right now to be able to add a little bit of the deep threats in the passing game. But I think what's never going to leave our room is our ability to go grind at the line of scrimmage and open up the run game. So for us is just continuing the daily basis, just trying to be the best version of ourselves every single time that we hit the field. And with
Hunter and Cade specifically, obviously it feels like they're going to be leading things going into the season at least. And how do you feel like, as Cade had to join into a leadership role a little bit, what about Hunter in terms of maybe adding that to his piece as well?
Well, I think, those guys are a little bit of quieter dudes. They're not necessarily outwardly vocal, but neither was Drew Sample. So I think for them is really making sure that they emulate the posture, exactly what blocking fits look like, and then if they have words of wisdom or guidance, be able to help a lot of the young dudes. I think they've been awesome in terms of just kind of lending a hand and being, hey, in this coverage, this is how you want to work this look, or in this blocking fit, this is how you want to step. And, it's kind of been leadership a little bit by committee right now. But they've been doing an awesome job.
I was going to say, in that sense, do you have to step up the vocal piece a little bit to kind of prime the pump and kind of get them going a little bit?
Well, I think the best thing about my room is I just got a bunch of dudes that are self-starters and are hungry and competitive. Okay. So you don't necessarily have to get after them. They're self-starters. They're motivators right now. You just have to make sure that you manage the personalities and challenge them the right way. So it's not necessarily, hey, vocally trying to get after those dudes, but it's, hey, this is the challenge in terms of execution, just to play cleaner. And I think once we set that tone, those guys have been doing a great job of trying to execute that.
Lastly, I just wanted to ask you about being a dad and having to balance all that stuff. How's that been like?
Oh, it's been the best. Really, a little bit tough right now, just because I haven't seen my son in like 72 hours with him going to bed and waking up a little bit later than I leave. But it's the best thing I've ever gone through. It's so cool. He's starting to smile a little bit more and laugh and gain some personality. And thank goodness he looks like his mom, because that could have been a disaster if he looked like dad.
But in terms of with the other coaches that have kids and whatnot, what have been their words of wisdom?
Oh, the hand-me-down clothes have been the best thing that we've gotten in terms of toys and just keeping that guy fitted so we don't have to go to the store every 3 days when he grows out of stuff. But no, it's, the whole, just really being around our staff, not just in terms of parenthood, but just growing and maturing for myself, I think is invaluable experience and something that I've always relied heavily on.
Excellent. Thanks, Jordan.
That's just great.